I've always loved games, especially those that try something new, even though they often end up being overlooked or misunderstood. Some are forgotten outright, and I really don't like that. That's why I decided to share my love for obscure games with everyone. I am 21st Century, and this is a hidden gem. Today, for my inaugural episode, I want to talk about a little known indie title, Starseed Pilgrim. It's a weird title, it does things unlike most other games, and is hard to properly classify within typical genres. Starseed Pilgrim was developed by Droqen, who is a prolific independent game designer. Droqen was helped by Renton, who did the art, and Ryan Roth, who worked on the audio. Droqen is mainly known for the titles Probability Zero and Fishbane, but he has several other games under his belt. Of note is the fact that a good amount of his projects were for game jams or for personal challenges. Starseed Pilgrim is a hard game to properly review because the exploration of its game mechanics is the main pull. It is, at a fundamental level, a game of learning the rules. The more you know about Starseed Pilgrim before playing, the less you'll have to discover by yourself. So if you liked what you saw already, turn this video off, go on Steam and buy Starseed Pilgrim. It's pretty cheap and it's worth it. But for everyone who wants to know a little bit more before blindly buying a game, here's more information on what makes this game worth playing. In Starseed Pilgrim, you are a gardener tending to your gardens. Very little is explained in the game. It's meant to be an enigma, something that you figure out yourself, and not something that is painstakingly explained in minutiae over the length of the experience. As stated before, discovering the gameplay mechanics is the core of the gameplay in Starseed Pilgrim. This gives the game a distinct air of mystery. The whole game feels lonely and sterile at first as you start in an empty world. Then as you play, the world will change from a sterile expanse to a chaotic one. This serves to give the game a distinct feel, one that the world grows with you. There is only one character, you. There is no clear antagonist either. There are no backgrounds to speak of. Most of the color in this game is placed by you and rarely lasts very long. This really helps the atmosphere and adds a certain theme of impermanence to the experience. The music is partly atmospheric and partly composed by you, as your actions have distinct musical tones. This means the music is almost always perfectly adapted to the situation. All in all, the presentation in Starseed Pilgrim is top-notch, aside from one simple flaw, the resolution. You can probably see that the resolution is a bit weird. The game plays in a 600 by 600 window. You can maximize the window, but it won't increase the playable resolution. You can zoom in to double or quadruple it, but that doesn't really work all that well either. Added to that the fact that in order to make the game feel less like a game, there is no title screen or options menu or even a pause feature, and you get something that's a bit annoying to capture. Starseed Pilgrim's gameplay comes in three phases: the overworld, the gardens, and the challenges. In the overworld, you don't do much, at least at first. You just wander around in a tiny island with access to the first garden. You start with a few seeds to help grow blocks around it, but not enough to really explore. In the garden, you are given seeds to plant on a differently colored tiny island. This island is made of blocks you can destroy, unlike the island in the overworld. Of note in this place is the main threat of the blackness spreading. So what's the Starseed Pilgrim to do? Plant the seeds, grow the blocks and try to escape? You can try, but you'll run out of seeds rather quickly without a good strategy. This is the main gameplay phase of the game, and where your skills are first tested. Each seed grows different block types, and each block has properties, and that's really the first skill to master. So what is the goal of the garden phase? Well, that's up to you to find out. For the sake of this review, I'll point to the star blocks. So when the darkness gets you, or you otherwise die, you are thrust in a negative, monochrome version of the world you grew. You will see a lock at the bottom, and keys where stars were seen. Bring a key to a lock, and you can bring back seeds to the overworld. So back in the overworld, you can grow blocks and find other islands. Islands with gardens. Gardens with different rules. So there lies much of the game, simply bringing back seeds, exploring the overworld, and the new gardens. But what about the third phase, the challenges? Well, that's a really big spoiler, so I wouldn't hold it against you if you averted your eyes right now. Click the annotation if you don't want to be spoiled. The challenge phase is not easy to reach, but when you do reach it, you will be given a simple stage. For once in the game, you have a straightforward goal to reach. Of course, it's not really easy to reach those goals, as you'll have to use all your skills and even some luck to succeed. But succeeding at those will activate a little light in the garden. That is where the ultimate goal of the game lies, to light up each and every garden. Starseed Pilgrim is a rather unique game due to how little it tells you and how much you need to figure out by yourself. You need to figure out what the seeds do, what the blocks do, where the gardens are, how to get to them, how to beat challenges, etc. That's a bold move for a game, to put so much faith on the player. In a way, it goes against the trend of holding the player's hand, though it's not alone. You might compare it to Dark Souls, for instance. It's sort of a minimalist, puzzle-driven Dark Souls. It certainly has a similar hopelessness to it. Add into that the masterful presentation, the use of minimalism throughout, and the fact that it certainly succeeds in making the player want to learn more, and you get a pretty unique game. I can think of a few strong points for Starseed Pilgrim. Starseed Pilgrim is challenging. Starseed Pilgrim is refreshing. Starseed Pilgrim doesn't underestimate the player. Like, look at this. This is a map of the world I made. I made it because of how large and confusing it was to move from garden to garden. And that's pretty much a great thing. It's a game that trusts that the player will go forward with that extra step to succeed. Thanks to early mapping efforts, I found a garden I overlooked. If I hadn't done that, I probably would not have found it. There's no handholding, no overwrought tutorials. It's just a game posing the player a challenge. Everything about the game is up to the player to discover, and that's really great. Of course, this game is not perfect. One bush I have beaten around is the randomness of seeds. Seeds behave in a certain predictable way, but not entirely predictably. Here's an example. Side to side I'll be planting a green seed at the exact same spot. You'll notice that it didn't grow the same way at all. And that can get really frustrating, especially in challenge levels. Your seeds are randomly rolled. The blocks grow randomly, so there's nothing you can really count on. Sometimes you'll get completely screwed over, and that might ruin your run. And it's frustrating. But that's life in a nutshell. Sometimes you get screwed over through no fault of your own, and you just gotta move forward. So in the end, is Starseed Pilgrim worth picking up? Balancing the strong points and flaws and taking into account the ridiculously low price point, then yes, absolutely. It might be obscure due to how indie it is, but it's a great game. It's criminally overlooked, and it deserves more players, definitely. It's refreshing to see a game that doesn't underestimate players and can actually pose a challenge that uses that much luck without being too frustrating. That's why this game is a hidden gem.